So how real is the growing fear of Syrian refugees fleeing to the West, and is the U.S. process for accepting them too tough or not extensive enough? Kurt Volker is a former U.S. ambassador to NATO. He's also the executive director of the McCain Institute for International Leadership at Arizona State University.
It is both not enough and it's excessive. It's at the same time. It takes 2 years for somebody to get screened. One of the issues here is we don't have good intelligence on who these people are, so that there could very easily be a terrorist that slips in, as has happened already in Europe with those coming across through Greece or through Turkey. So that's certainly a possibility. But I think the thing here is we have to have compassion for refugees. There are genuine refugees who are forced out by the war. There are religious minorities that have been persecuted, and there are people who are of Muslim faith who are also, fleeing the brutal regime that ISIS has put in there, or Sunnis that are fleeing the Assad regime. All of them have legitimate claims to want to get out. What we need to be doing as a country, in my view, is separating behavior, terrorist behavior, from identity. Just because you're a Muslim, just because you're Syrian, doesn't mean you're a terrorist. And we need to have better ways of identifying behavior and monitoring behavior so that we can respond quickly so we don't have a terrorist problem. But keep that American compassion for helping refugees who need it.
What is the likelihood, though, of ISIL infiltrating a refugee camp in an effort to get into the United States or another country?
Very, very likely. Very likely. They have done it. They've done it in Europe. These refugee camps, you think about the ones inside Turkey or inside Jordan, they're open. They can go back and forth across the border. They can radicalize, they can recruit, and it's very likely. And they did it in France, they did it with Belgium, and I'm sure they would love to do it with the United States. So we have to be on guard.
So what do the restrictions do to these refugees so desperate to get out of a war-torn area, stuck in these refugee camps, many of them longing for freedom? What does it do for them?
The terrorists are the ones to stay focused on here. They are to blame for the violence, and the terrorists are to blame for the plight of the refugees. Because if there weren't terrorists that would try to infiltrate the refugee streams to conduct attacks, there wouldn't be as strict requirements on accepting refugees as there now are. Everyone is concerned about these refugees because of those few terrorists that embedded inside them. And so it does make things worse for the refugees. They have to wait longer. They have to go through more of a screening process, less certain what will actually happen to them.
What more can be done for them, do you think?
I think one of the issues is to create a safe haven and a no-fly zone inside Syrian territory so that they can be in their own country. That, I think, is something we should have done ages ago, and it's still not too late to do that. It's much harder and more complicated, more dangerous now with Russia flying around and Assad's forces there. But I think that we got to still try to get a safe space inside Syria where Syrian people can be independent from a refugee flow. In addition to that, I think that the UN and other countries are going to have to chip in to help the border states, Turkey, Greece, Italy. They're being overwhelmed with the numbers.
Kurt Volker, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.